Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to talk about Misty and how much it takes to make $1,000, $2,500, $5,000, or even $10,000 a month from this fund. So it's one of the most popular funds year to date because it has such a massive yield and it's been performing at a very, very high level. So let's go ahead and look at see what people are talking about on X about this fund here. So this user thinks they're going to pay over $3.50 a dividend this week. I think people are sleeping on Misty, doing roughly 30 to 40% vol with a dividend of 11.5% per month. Annualize out, that's a roughly 200% dividend yield if you reinvest the dividends. He seems pretty bullish. Makes sense. You know, his at name is MSTR Bull. An infinite money engine for you. Put 100% into Misty. Accumulate its ridiculous high monthly yield, payments, and cash. Use that cash as margin to sell weekly at the money puts in MSTR over and over again. Use the put premium to buy more MSTR. That's a pretty interesting strategy. And then brick by brick, he holds several high yield ETFs that focus on different sectors. Here's ETFs that pay very high monthly dividends in their main sector exposure: MSTY, BITO, Maxi, YBIT by BTC. They're all Bitcoin based, AI based, and it goes through a pretty significant list there. King investing, unpopular opinion, TSLY is crap. Misty is just okay. Okay, so that's a little bit of the chatter. You know, you got some mixed reviews. You know, people either love Misty or are not a huge fan. I know Michael Saylor the other day, he had mentioned a shout out. Let's see what he has to say here.
You know, the only time I ever lost money on Apple, the only time. But can you imagine losing money on Apple stock investing in the last 20 years? At any point in time from 1997, there's not a single way, John, you could have lost money betting on Apple stock as a hodler in 22 years, except I did it. I'm going to tell you how I did it. I bought an option. I bought a leap. I actually bought a call option, but not short, long. I went long Apple stock. I bought call. By the way, I'm not going to go long Apple stock with a 30 or 60 or 90-day option. I bought an 18-month leap option on Apple stock. The stock traded down. It stayed down 17 months, 18 months. My option expired. I lost the premium and the stock shot up. And I'm saying, I freaking predicted the future. I wanted some leverage. I'm so angry. And the takeaway from that is, if you believe in something and you have conviction, buy the underlying asset, ideally with very low leverage or no leverage, and hold it forever.
Yeah. So that's an interesting take. I think Michael Saylor there is talking about, his experience with buying a long call option on Apple and it pretty much expiring worthless by his expiration date. And then shortly after that expiration date, it mooning. So what he had just advised is buy the underlying asset with little to no leverage. So it's not a great take for these funds here. These are leveraged funds. MSTU and MSTX is 2x leverage, and then Misty is obviously a leveraged fund. So that's a take there. But moving on, this guy moved his entire retirement account to Misty a couple months ago. You know, best of luck to him. Hopefully that does well. I mean, that's a pretty bold move. But what we're going to look at today is how much, kind of what we talked about with the assumption that it can pay close to this $4 dividend, which is what it's done, you know, the past 2 months. If it could go 3 months in a row paying $4 in dividend, I think the shareholders are going to be very, very happy. Once again, this is going to be the last payment from Misty for the year of 2024. So hopefully this can help you out with Christmas a little bit if you're a shareholder. But yeah, so it's currently trading for $38.12. The last 2 months it's paid over $4. Let's just assume it hits that $4 level again. We're gonna we'll find out this data tomorrow morning. YieldMax will release this on their X page around 6:55, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. So definitely stay tuned if you're up tomorrow morning to take a look at that video, or that tweet rather. But they will be releasing this data. It will be their announcement date per se. And then their ex-dividend date will be Thursday. And then their payment date will be this upcoming Friday. But let's go ahead and jump to this next tab. I made a quick little calculator here. Actually, I need to go back and look at this data. So we need to know the current share price. So it's $38.12. And then we're going to assume they can pay $4. So we need to populate our data here. Okay, so $38.12. And we're going to assume, this dividend per share, we don't know for sure 100% yet. But we're just going to hope they can pay $4. We'll see tomorrow, though. So if we click calculate, we can scroll down a little bit right here. And this calculator kind of does the calculations for us, the ones that we've been doing manually before. It just kind of spits out $1,000, $2,500, $5,000, and $10,000. So in order to make $1,000 per month from Misty, because once again, they pay once a month, you'll have to own 250 shares. And 250 shares times the $38 is going to take in a total investment cost of $9,500. So let's just double check this math to make sure I'm doing it right. 250 times 38 is $9,500. And that's pretty close to what we were at there. Cool. So the next one on the list, $2,500 per month. So definitely a nice supplemental income if you're able to not reinvest 100% of the dividend, which we'll look at the performance year to date. And it looks like for Misty, you've been able to, essentially live off these dividends and not reinvest them, and your underlying investment still continues to grow. But that's going to take an investment of $23,825 in order to get close to that estimate if they're able to pay $4 per share. Next one's $5,000 per month, 1,250 shares of Misty for a total investment cost of $47,650. And then lastly on the list, $10,000 per month from Misty. It's going to take 2,500 shares, or a total investment cost of $95,300. So pretty massive. You can make over $120,000 per year from Misty if they're able to pay $4 per share and not even spend $100,000. So that just goes to show you that the yield is over 100%. Let's see exactly, based on this calculation, what it's coming out to be. So 120,000 divided by 95,300. So 125% yield. Does that sound right? Let's go back to the website. So the website here says 141% yield. Yeah, so that would make sense, because we were estimating $4. And I'm pretty sure this website just uses the most recent cash amount payment to calculate that yield. So if they do 442, what was it? $139. Yeah, so pretty close there to what they're illustrating. But yeah, either way though, pretty massive dividends, and those were the numbers. So I'll leave a link to this calculator if you guys want to kind of use it. It's just a way that you can quickly calculate some data to hit these certain income levels. If there's something, if there's a smaller income level you want me to include here, just let me know and I can plug it into the code on the back end and it'll quickly populate. But it just saves you a little bit of time as far as calculating that data there. But then lastly, I kind of want to look at the total, the total real returns of Misty, and just kind of quickly look at that data to see how it's done this year. I know it's done pretty well, but let's go ahead and just look at it. So let's turn off inflation. Inflation's obviously a couple percentage point, like it's like 3%. But yeah, so Misty, pretty massive, right? So let's look at it. So once again, you have to understand this website. This is including dripping your dividends or, it's not necessarily dripping your dividends. It's the price return plus the distribution amount. So needless to say, it's up 291% year to date. And I think this is actually dating back to, so this was actually the inception date of Misty. So it hasn't been a full year, and it's up 291%. So pretty crazy there. Let's look at the actual, let's see, I can pull up the Misty ETF. Let's pull this up over here. Yeah, so just looking from a price return, it looks to be up 78%. Looks like it IPO'd or was first enlisted on the market around $21, and it's at $37 now. So you could have lived off of all of those dividends year to date, not reinvested them, and your original investment, if you would have bought, like say, 1,000 shares or 100 shares back when they first listed for either $2,100 or $21,000, not dripping the dividends, you could have held them all year and then sold them now and still would have been out of profit. So pretty cool there. I don't think that's going to be the case for all the YieldMax funds or really all these high income funds forever. Anytime a fund distributes as much as YieldMax does, there's going to be some NAV erosion. But we'll see. If they can continue to perform like this, it's definitely going to disrupt the market, I think, long term. But we'll see, though. Obviously MSTR has been a beast this year, up over, I think it's 400%. So, that's definitely helped. Anytime the underlying does very well, any type of covered call or similar fund to that is going to perform decent as well. Obviously with this fund, you're capping your upside, so it's not performing 1-to-1 as far as what the underlying asset is. But you have to understand this is an income fund. You can't compare it to the underlying asset just because it's a different instrument. It's a different type of investment vehicle. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it for today's video. Please do your own research. Make sure you understand the risk with these option income strategy ETFs. Go to their website, read their fund documents and stuff like that. Learn more about the strategies they implement and make sure it makes sense for you and your risk tolerance. But hindsight's, back in February this year, this could have been a phenomenal purchase. But no one knows the future, so we'll see how it continues to go. I know Michael Saylor is a big advocate for Bitcoin, so he's been pushing that for MSTR, leveraging Bitcoin, replacing their cash pretty much as a Bitcoin alternative. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how Bitcoin continues to rally, and if it can continue to stay above 100K, then should be very bright for a lot of the companies that are focusing on crypto and such going forward. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it for today's video. Appreciate it. If you're still here, please like and subscribe down below and stay tuned for our next video.